Coming up in Malaysia, 2 Tzu Chi prefabricated homes arrive in Manek Urai, Kelantan, ready for assembly. And we meet a cardiologist who helps alleviate diabetes patients' sufferings with a minimally invasive procedure. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. We start today's program in Malaysia. Tzu Chi is planning to build prefabricated homes for disaster survivors in the former flooded region of Manek Urai, Kelantan, as part of their mid to long-term assistance project for the region that suffered from the worst flooding seen in a third of a century. Recently, 2 other prefabricated home units arrived from Taiwan to serve as a sample home for cash for work participants to later use as a reference. But before the units could be assembled, local residents had to work through the night to lay the cement foundation for the home. Let's now take a look at the assembly process. After Manek Urai of Kelantan was selected as the town in which Tzu Chi prefabricated units will be built, local residents quickly got to work, clearing out debris and flattening the land. Out of the 409 homes here, 142 were completely destroyed and some 200 are in need of serious repairs.
The homes are not livable, so residents now live in tents. But we thought that providing them with a temporary dwelling to live in would be better.
2 of the prefab units recently arrived in Malaysia from Taiwan to serve as reference for later construction efforts. The day before the homes were to be assembled, cash for work participants worked throughout the night to set the cement foundation. Feeling the excitement of moving into a new home, volunteers worked quickly to assemble the prefabs. The first unit, put together by the team from Taiwan and 30 local Malaysian volunteers, was 26.4 square meters in size. But really, these units are just the first phase of the mid to long-term assistance Tzu Chi is planning.
The master said we should make our own framework here, so we don't need to transport them from the Philippines. We can also then start a cash for work project to help the local residents partake in the building of their own homes.
As with the Cash for Work program in the Philippines, the Malaysian Cash for Work participants will also gain the same joy and confidence in using their own 2 hands to rebuild their lives. Most of the residents in the town of Manek Urai in Kelantan work in a palm tree plantation in town for a living. However, the recent terrible flood have destroyed not only their home but also the palm fields, subsequently cutting off their income as well. Now, with no running water and electricity to the area, residents are really suffering day to day. Next, we see how the survivors are doing in these difficult conditions and their hopes and dreams for the future. Though the floodwaters have long receded, the town of Manek Urai in Kelantan is still without a stable electricity supply. This night, residents once again light candles to see.
It is very hard for my children to study inside the tent, as there is no light inside. They have to rely on the light from the street lamp. If we can only have a home once more, then my children will be able to study with ease.
Although Abu Bakr and his family now reside in the safety of a tent, the conditions are still not ideal. The tent is too hot to stay in during the day and too cold to sleep in at night.
All I have left now is this land. I hope your organization can help us rebuild our home so we can live in a better place.
Suffering from a similar situation is single mother Zaina, who has had trouble making ends meet since the flood, as jobs in the town have been scarce. She is looking for a better future for her and her 6-year-old daughter.
My plan for the future is to live a little bit better.
The hope of living a better tomorrow is a sentiment that can be felt throughout the town. But for now, all residents can do is pray that help one day arrives. We have a related report on the flooding in Malaysia. Besides providing prefabricated homes in the states of Kelantan, Tzu Chi volunteers have also conducted further flood surveys in the state of Pahang. Seeing the scope of the devastation, volunteers concluded that a financial aid distribution would do much to ease the residents' worries. However, as this is the first time for many to meet Tzu Chi, volunteers held meetings to teach the village heads more about the organization and how the money will be given to those in need. Here's more on that story. Tzu Chi volunteers from the Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter traveled to the flooded state of Pahang and, along with local volunteers, began disaster assessments. In total, 189 volunteers spent 2 days crossing 4 counties to better understand the survivors' needs.
The glass broke and the window can't be closed. One of the doors was blown away and now only the other side is left. That's about it.
Besides home repairs, volunteers find that many seniors are also in need of help, especially those who are ill.
The closet is broken, the clothes can't be worn. The children's uniforms are also ruined. We don't know if the government or non-government organizations will come to help us. We can only wait and see.
Ahead of giving financial assistance, Tzu Chi volunteers held 4 meetings to inform the village heads and other representatives about the organization and how the money will be allotted.
Before we give them the financial aid, we need to let them know the significance and origins of the money. The village heads were very understanding and even helped us select those families who are more in need. This helps us to distribute the aid with peace of mind.
Getting to know the situation at hand a bit better, volunteers do their best in giving the survivors the relief they need to get their lives back on track. Moving our focus to winter aid distributions in China, Tzu Chi's first ever winter relief distribution in Datangzhuang Township of Tianjin was handled solely by local volunteers, while other volunteers in the surrounding area lent their strength to the event. We now take you to the distribution to see how the circulation of love helped brighten everyone's day. On the streets of Datangzhuang Township in China's Tianjin, one sees barrels and barrels of corn hanging out to dry. For the first time ever, local volunteers are taking on a Tzu Chi winter relief distribution by themselves, and a recipients quickly warm up to this change of the guard. Other volunteers from the Tianjin area also come to lend a hand. Though the bags of rice may be heavy and the work physically demanding, volunteers relish in the joy of giving.
They are really so thoughtful. I'm really touched. They are just like my own children.
Just outside, there was this handicapped senior, and he said something that just really touched me. I told him that he was a bodhisattva who gave us this opportunity to serve, but he said he wants to volunteer too.
Though many families here each have their own tragedy to bear, thanks to the gathering of love, this day is a bit sweeter and more bearable. We begin the second segment of our program with our series report on Chinese herbal medicine. Taiwan has done little to control the import of Chinese medicinal ingredients. Only recently has the government established regulations to control 10 of the some 300 ingredients the country imports, of which only 4 on the list need to be randomly inspected. This seems rather relaxed compared to the regulations placed on Western medicine. We find out more in our report.
When imported Chinese medicinal ingredients arrive in Taiwan, the computer in the customs office will determine just how the inspection is to be carried out. Take this container for example. Only these 6 boxes need to be inspected.
We mainly check for illegal content and see if the items match the inventory list.
As the customs computer makes the selection, often inspectors will have to search through the whole container to find the boxes they have to check, just like this.
We got to open up the boxes to see if something is being smuggled. Not all the Chinese medicine is allowed by the inspection and quarantine office. Last time we found some chicken gizzard skin.
If a shipment fails a random inspection, the next 5 consecutive shipments by the same shipper from the same origin will have to be inspected, and the samples will be increased by 3 times.
Right now, we have established a system to manage our inspection process. Those that pass random inspections are deemed fine. Maybe 100 boxes out of 1,000 will be carefully examined, and already that is a heavy burden for us.
It is obvious that the customs office is understaffed. With so many containers arriving every day, they just cannot properly prevent all contraband from entering Taiwan.
The customs office just follows the orders of the central government. We do what we are asked.
Chinese medicinal ingredients may only be imported by licensed importers. At first, no inspection was needed at all, but things began to change in 1999. By 2012, with the establishment of a border management system, 10 of the Chinese medicinal ingredients listed must submit proper paperwork when imported, 4 of which might be randomly inspected.
From 1999 to 2015, of the 300 to 400 kinds of Chinese medicinal ingredients we import, you only inspect 4 kinds? That's just not very sound. The 10 on the list account for about 45% of the import volume. We will add 6 more items to the list by the end of this year and conduct inspections regularly on 10 of the most common Chinese medicinal ingredients. This will increase coverage to 55%.
The government believes such measures, plus the some 300 random inspections on the retail end conducted by local health bureaus, should be enough. But is it?
So many of our citizens enjoy Chinese medicine, but less than 400 inspections are carried out a year. That number should be much higher to prevent foul play.
Inspections carried out at the retail end are completely useless in our opinion. If you catch the problem right at the source, then you don't need to do these inspections.
So, just what is the government to do with limited manpower and resources? Scholars suggest getting the industry involved.
We can get the pharmaceuticals and food companies involved to help share the load of inspection. If this means adding to their cost, fine. Those who buy their products should share the costs too.
The government is thinking of creating a Chinese medicine technician certification program. A certified technician can help manage TCM pharmacies, but is not a medical personnel.
We hope that through training, we can nurture certified technicians to help us maintain the quality of Chinese medicine. We have now come to an agreement with the Ministry of Labor on a certification program. We are willing to undergo training and give up subsidies from the National Health Insurance. We have conceded 3 times already.
As time changes, people's needs are also changing. Though Taiwan has strengthened its management of Chinese medicine, more needs to be done by both the government and businesses to restore the industry's reputation and safeguard the health of citizens.
Next, we have some medical news. There is a new procedure called peripheral vascular intervention that helps diabetes patients lower the risk of losing limbs by increasing circulation to the body's peripheries. Let's now learn more of this procedure from Dr. Huang Shen Li from the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital in Taiwan, who has been very dedicated and thorough in his research in this area and has even gone as far as Germany and Italy for additional training.
Long-time diabetes sufferers, if they fail to keep their condition in check, will see high blood sugar levels cause their veins to harden, thus interfering with circulation to the body's peripheral areas. However, doctors now have a way to deal with this problem.
We use a cardiac catheter to open up the blood vessels in the leg. It is like we are unblocking a channel. All the silted up areas will start to flow once more. The flow of blood can now go from upstream to downstream. being arterial blood which brings heat. When this blood makes it to the feet of patients, they will instantly feel warmer.
很直接，他就可以体会到，就是说我的脚马上就有温度了。
Success lies not only in the doctor's experience, but in time spent understanding the problem and how to overcome it.
Sometimes, looking at a problem from one angle, we can feel there is no way to succeed. But looking at a problem from two sides, the chances of a successful treatment increase. Sometimes during treatment, we will first use an ultrasound for a final confirmation, as the image of the blood vessel and what we are seeing at the patient's bedside may be different. So you need to assess the problem from many angles.
Although the procedure can be difficult and extremely tiring, Dr. Huang has dedicated his life to perfecting it and helping diabetics find a better quality of life, even going to Germany and Italy for additional training.
In the beginning, you use the most traditional methods. Of course, eventually you will reach a bottleneck and will feel frustrated and wonder if you should continue on or if you are actually helping your patients.
However, thanks to his persistence, diabetics in Taiwan now have a chance to put the worst of their symptoms behind them.
Tzu Chi volunteers of the Toronto branch office in Canada have long cared for patients at the Bridgeport Health Centre. During one of their visits, volunteers learned that the health centre was in need of new wheelchairs. To help, volunteers organized a charity sale to raise funds to help the clinic purchase wheelchairs.
Although these patients are confined to their wheelchairs, they nevertheless gladly take part in the activities. As most of these wheelchairs have been subject to prolonged use, some for as long as 30 years, they are in need of replacement due to wear and tear. Hence, Tzu Chi volunteers of the Toronto branch organized a charity sale to help raise funds for the clinic to purchase wheelchairs.
I can't tell you how wonderful that is, at least how I feel that that's so wonderful that we'll be able to help more people, get them out of bed, get them moving. Like, I don't know what else to say. Just thank you so very, very much.
Volunteers gathered at the branch office early morning to prepare for the charity sale. The vegetarian food volunteers prepared was enjoyed by the clinic staff, patients, and their family members.
Whether it was medical personnel or the patient's family members, when they learned that the purpose of this charity sale was to raise funds for the clinic to purchase wheelchairs, they all willingly contributed to this cause.
Understanding the patient's needs, volunteers hope to provide them with a better quality of life and promise to continue safeguarding the health of residents in the days to come.
At the Tzu Chi Zhangzhou Liaison Office in China, volunteers recently organized a banquet to celebrate the upcoming Chinese New Year with their care recipients. Seeing how selflessly volunteers have cared for those in need over the years, some care recipients decided to start volunteer training to join the good cause. But first, we joined Tzu Chi volunteers in Taipei, Taiwan, as they organized a Thanksgiving event for recycling volunteers at the Wolong Recycling Station in Da'an District.
Getting ready for the Thanksgiving banquet at the Wolong Recycling Station in Taipei's Da'an District, volunteers start their preparations early in the morning.
We are having our year-end party at the recycling station today. Each of our team contributed 2 dishes each. All the sisters prepared the food with much love.
Volunteers prepared a table full of delectable dishes to show their appreciation and gratitude to the recycling bodhisattvas for their commitment and dedication over the past year.
Thank you for all your hard work this year. The Chinese New Year is also just around the corner, so I wish everyone good health. May you achieve all that your heart desires.
Situated in the heart of Taipei's bustling Da'an District, the Wolong Recycling Station occupies 200 square meters of space. Although small, around 30 volunteers show up at the recycling station each day, many of whom are already in their 80s.
Practicing recycling makes me really happy. There are a lot of us doing it together. It's really great. It's become part of my daily routine. If I don't go for one day, I get uneasy and depressed. We don't age as quickly and we feel much younger at heart.
Seeing how energetic and youthful these seniors are, it is no exaggeration to say that recycling does indeed reverse the effects of aging. Today, Tzu Chi care recipients have been invited to the Zhangzhou Liaison Office to attend a banquet in celebration of the upcoming Chinese New Year. Volunteers even decorated the office to add to the holiday spirit.
My child is already working now, so I told the volunteers that we don't need the monthly monetary support anymore. It can be given to help those in greater need.
Also hoping to pay the love forward is Tai Fu Sheng.
Tzu Chi volunteers provided me with assistance when I was ill, so now it's my turn to help others. I want to pass on this love.
I'm having a great time. It's like a family gathering. It's great. It's such a heartfelt and warm feeling to spend time with the volunteers.
Starting the year off on the right foot, residents are determined to reciprocate the kindness they have received and pass on the love to others in need.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Europe hold year-end blessing ceremonies just like their counterparts in Taiwan to not only recount the relief work of the past year, but to also welcome in the new year with hopes of bringing blessings to more people. We now join the volunteers in Germany and the Netherlands as they conduct events to celebrate this auspicious time.
Disasters continue to strike in different parts of the world. In such an adverse time, we need to know, cherish, and create blessings more than ever.
Reading a letter from Master Zhen Yan, Tzu Chi volunteers hold a year-end blessing ceremony at the Hamburg High School auditorium in Germany. A sign language song repeats the volunteers' determination to walk the Bodhisattva path. During the event, a video of the disaster relief efforts of the past year was shown, including footage of the aid distribution for flood survivors in Bosnia.
Not only providing assistance in Germany, volunteers even traveled to Bosnia to help. I've come to realize that this society really needs more kind-hearted people like the Tzu Chi volunteers to lead our society towards a more peaceful place.
People of all ages, big and small, line up to donate the money they have saved over the past year. Each holding a lamp in prayer, the 200-some participants hope their love is enough to light up forgotten corners of the world. Meanwhile, in Holland, a string quartet of Taiwanese exchange students performed Tzu Chi songs during a year-end blessing ceremony in Amsterdam. Volunteers lead the participants in a Tzu Chi sign language song as together, everyone hopes to spread their love and care to more people. Also holding a year-end blessing ceremony in Nevada of the United States are Tzu Chi volunteers in Las Vegas. During the ceremony, some participants donated their filled bamboo coin banks, while others adopted empty coin banks to start saving for next year's event. We will leave you with these images at the end of the show. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. See you next time.